now for our next news special report.
Tonight we're delving into a story that hits at the core of our republic. Imagine a world where your every word, even unspoken thoughts, could land you in hot water. Sounds like a sci-fi nightmare, right? But it's closer to reality than you think. At the heart of our discussion is a congressional hearing that's ringing alarm bells across the nation. Think Minority Report, but not in the movies, in our government halls. This isn't just about politics, it's about your right to speak, to think, and be heard. And the stakes, higher than ever. From Capitol Hill to the streets of Ireland, the battle lines are drawn. Free speech, a cornerstone of our republic, is facing threats that are both subtle and startling. Stay with us as we unravel this complex tapestry of control and resistance. You can't afford to miss our thoughts on this. It's a perspective that every American needs to hear. Now, before we dive deeper, a quick reminder. Our commitment to bringing you top-notch, unfiltered news is unwavering. But it's not just us fighting for the truth. Ground News is revolutionizing how news is consumed. Imagine a world where you see beyond the usual narratives, a place where media bias is laid bare, and that's where Ground News comes in. Their blind spot feed is like having X-ray vision for the news, exposing stories one side the media might ignore. Now, like the startling fact that a majority of American voters own guns, underreported by certain outlets. In these times where free speech battles rage, Ground News offers clarity. Check them out at ground.news/nextnews for a 40% discount. Now back to our critical report. In today's fast-paced digital world, the very foundation of a republic, the right to free speech is under an unprecedented threat. This isn't a warning from a dystopian novel. It's the stark reality that we're facing, underscored in a recent congressional hearing. Representative Dan Bishop and Canadian journalist Rupa Subramanya brought to light concerns that resonate not just within the United States but globally, painting a picture that's eerily reminiscent of the pre-crime concept in Minority Report. Representative Bishop raised alarms about the worrying trend, the erosion of free speech through social media censorship. With the rapid evolution of digital platforms, the line between protecting public discourse and infringing upon First Amendment rights is blurring. He emphasized the need to safeguard the ability of Americans to express themselves, a fundamental principle upon which our nation was built. The hearing took a dramatic turn with a testimony of Rupa Subramanya. She highlighted the frightening prospect of Ireland's proposed hate speech laws, a move that could set a precedent for other nations, including the United States. Her warning was clear. These laws could lead to a scenario where even possessing an unshared, potentially offensive meme could result in arrest. This level of control over personal expression is not just alarming, it's a direct threat to the basic human right of free speech. Watch.
The dynamic deepens and deepens. This is a big deal. And here we are, every person on the minority side has talked about Donald Trump. I would think, Ms. Troy and others, that if you're concerned, if you're genuinely concerned about Donald Trump as a threat, what we're talking about today should be all the more threatening to you, because we're talking about setting precedents and diminishing the ability of Americans to express themselves. So, Ms. Subramanya, back to you. Republicans have been involved in this, by the way. The former chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mac Thornberry, helped to repeal the Smith-Mundt Act. Nikki Haley said the other day that we ought not be able to allow to have anonymous Twitter accounts. What do you make of this dynamic that I describe in that and what you're seeing in this hearing? That the party that has established, frankly, the liberals established fundamental principles of free speech through the Warren Court. They've been continued consistently by the Supreme Court, but now they're under threat by the other side who just wants to talk about Donald Trump. What is going on?
Oh boy. So, look, I can't speak to what's happening here in America in terms of the internal political situation here. What I can point to is the fact that I come from a country where free expression, the right to express oneself freely, has been under threat. And it happened in a very short period of time. It just happened under 10 years. And it's happening all over the world now. It's happening in Ireland. Ireland is about to pass legislation which is among the most, it's one of the most draconian hate speech laws in the world. They're trying to stamp out hate. How does one stamp out hate? It's part of the human condition. And this is extremely worrying. The government cannot define hate, but yet they have this legislation. It can even come down to a situation where you could have a meme on your phone, and the Irish police would have the authority to come and arrest you, even if you haven't shared that meme. This is where we're going. It's straight out of Minority Report, where the precogs determine that you're about to be hateful when they come and arrest you. And this is happening in a Western liberal democracy. And so we have to look at the warning signs. We have to look at what's happening in Canada. We have to look at what's happening in Ireland and France and the EU. And you're absolutely right. The governments will find ways to go about censoring people. We know that's happening under the Biden administration, where they got media companies like Facebook and Twitter to deplatform content on their sites which the administration didn't like. But since it comes from a private platform, it doesn't violate the First Amendment at first glance. But if it was under duress from the federal government, then there are grounds to believe that it violates the spirit of the First Amendment.
Her insights shed light on a global shift towards more restrictive speech regulations. It's not just direct government actions we should be wary of, but also the subtler means like the influence on private platforms such as Facebook and Twitter. The Biden administration's alleged role in pressuring these platforms to censor content is particularly concerning. It raises critical questions about the intertwining relationship between government and private companies in controlling speech. This congressional hearing isn't an isolated incident. It's a reflection of a broader, more disturbing trend. Take the case of Douglas Mackey, known online as Ricky Vaughn. His prosecution for disseminating, quote, misleading memes during the 2016 election is a contentious topic. While his actions may raise moral questions, they also highlight the complex interplay between free speech and legal boundaries. Mackey's case, compared to the lack of legal action against others for similar acts, underscores inconsistencies in how digital behavior is treated legally. The disparity in handling these cases points to a critical issue, the fine line between protected speech and criminal activity in the realm of social media. It's a line that's becoming increasingly difficult to define as technology evolves. The prosecution, under a law originally aimed at combating voter suppression tactics by groups like the Ku Klux Klan, marks a significant shift in legal interpretation. It begs the question, what constitutes harmful speech in the digital age, and how should laws adapt? Furthermore, this hearing brings to light the fragile state of free speech in the digital era. The potential for government overreach, coupled with the influence of social media platforms in regulating content, poses a grave challenge to the preservation of free expression. The questions raised by Mackey's prosecution about the definition of harmful speech, the adaptation of laws to new forms of communication, and the role of government in regulating these spaces are critical in an era where digital platforms are central to public discourse. Navigating these issues is vital in maintaining a balance that protects the fundamental right to free speech while addressing genuine harm and misinformation. This balance is crucial not only for the integrity of discourse, but also for the broader principles of justice and fairness in the digital realm. The need for clear, consistent, and fair legal standards in addressing digital speech is more pressing than ever, as we must vigilantly protect our constitutional rights in an ever-evolving technological landscape. The congressional hearing and the Mackey case serve as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and critical engagement in protecting our fundamental rights. As technology reshapes our world, our commitment to upholding the principles of free expression must remain steadfast. We cannot allow the digital age to become an era of silenced voices and curtailed freedoms. In addressing these complex issues, we must also consider the role of education and awareness. Understanding the nuances of digital speech and the legal frameworks governing it is essential for both policymakers and the public. This understanding can foster a more informed and engaged citizenry capable of discerning between legitimate regulation and unjustified censorship. Moreover, the dialogue around free speech should not be confined to political or legal arenas alone. It's a conversation that needs to resonate in every household, school, and workplace. The principles of free expression are not just legal statutes. They're the bedrock of a vibrant and healthy society. We must cultivate a culture that values and defends these principles, especially in the face of challenges posed by new technologies and shifting political landscapes. As we look to the future, we must also recognize the role of individual responsibility in preserving free speech. Each of us has a part to play in this critical endeavor. By staying informed, engaging in constructive dialogue, and challenging attempts to stifle free expression, we can contribute to a society where diverse voices are heard and respected. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's not just about keeping up with the news. It's about joining a movement for truth and transparency in the age of digital communication. As we conclude this report, it's crucial to understand why this issue matters deeply to every American. The right to free speech, the bedrock of our republic, is not just another policy topic, it's the cornerstone of our republic. When we talk about the threats to free speech, we're not just discussing abstract legal principles. We're talking about the very essence of what it means to be free. The cases that we've discussed today, from the congressional hearing to the controversy surrounding Douglas Mackey, are more than just news items. They're alarm bells, warning us that our most fundamental rights are under siege. This isn't just about protecting voices we agree with. It's about safeguarding the right for all voices to be heard. As Americans, we must stand united in defending this right. For if we lose our ability to speak freely, we'll lose a part of what makes us truly American. Remember, in our republic, it's not just our right to speak. It's our duty to listen.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.